Do you take me to be some village girl that just walks around barefooted? Like, what are you doing asking me for dirt from my feet? I would give my life for this man. Seriously? Welcome and thank you for tuning in. You're watching The Love Experience with me, Miss Oshun, where we talk about love in real life because we know it's the journey, not the destination. So tonight I have something special that I wanted to share with everyone. It was an experience of mine and I thought it was very insightful, so I wanted to share it on this channel. Recently, I was surfing YouTube and I came across a video where a content creator expressed that wealthy men essentially make the worst partners while poor men make the best partners. And I had commented in the comment section that both rich and poor men do the same things, especially as married men. We're all human, we all have the same needs, and we're all flawed too. And thus married people, can have the same issues as single people, flawed people. Someone responded to my comment and wrote, how could anyone marry envy a single person, someone whom isn't wanted and alone and not receiving unconditional love from their partner, right? Like, why would they be envious? And I responded to that comment because it was so flawed. And I said, so are you telling me that there are no married people dealing with loneliness in their marriages? And I don't know what happened after that, but I felt really bad because I said, somebody really said that. And so as fate would have it, I would learn a deeper lesson about unconditional love through a story. And I want to just retell that story here with you guys tonight. Because I stumbled across a video that was talking about Krishna. And if anyone who knows me knows that Krishna is one of my favorite deities. I love stories about Krishna. Yes, I really do. The blue guy. So I'm gonna say it in my own fashion and you guys can follow along. Okay, so picture it. Sicily, 1937, and Krishna is king. Trust me, Italy looks good on Krishna. He was tall, he was very handsome, he was a warrior, he was well-spoken, he was funny, and he was very wise. He was a statesman, an overall lovable king, very lovable. And at this time, Krishna was surrounded by the most loyalist of generals, of whom would die for him in an instant. He had 8 of the most beautiful wives, period, that like drop dead gorgeous women, and every last one of them would give their lives for him in an instant. And everyone in his kingdom, I mean each and every person in his kingdom, was willing to die for him at a drop of a dime, period. It didn't matter. You can ask, the answer was always yes. So one day Krishna fell ill and he was on the edge, as they say, on his deathbed. And, there was all of these doctors that came in from all over the world trying to nurse him back to health. And they just couldn't figure out what was wrong. And he was just getting sicker and sicker by the day. And obviously, doctors are not there to watch you die. So this was becoming a very big problem from a state's point of view. And so, at some point, Krishna's guru, a man who had served as his philosopher, decided to take matters into his own hands. Now, according to the story that I heard, Krishna's guru sends for a guy named Nada. And when Nada came, Krishna's guru told Nada that Krishna's illness was not a physical illness. So therefore, the mission was not about his physical illness. He told Nada that the issue is Krishna's soul is thirsty for love. And this is what's wrong with Krishna. The guru went on to say that the cure for Krishna's illness is the dirt from the feet of 8 women that love Krishna unconditionally. And this is the only thing that Krishna needs to regain his health and, come back to, his normal duties and essentially not die. Nada, being part of the kingdom, he chuckled when he heard that, and he responded with, in his mind that is, this man, the man who everybody adores, needs more love in order for him to get better. Seriously? But nevertheless, Nada had a job to do. He had rent to pay. He felt this was going to be a piece of cake. So he obviously headed to the royal palace where the 8 wives of the king was that loved him unconditionally to ask for the dirt from their feet. This was the obvious solution. However, when Nada came to the queens telling them that Krishna needed the dirt from their feet for him to return to health, something truly remarkable had happened. And that thing was the queens responded with an utter rejection of Nada. And the idea was from all of them was essentially, how dare you ask me for the dirt on my feet to heal a man that I love and would give my life for. I would give my life for him. Asking for dirt, seriously, get out of here, Nada. Literally told him to leave, had him put out, escorted out of the palace, not the kingdom, but the palace. And Nada found himself on the step, the front steps, wondering what had happened to him and what went wrong. However, he had a job to do, so he said, you know what, I'm just gonna keep going. So he did the next best thing, which was he went to the next 8 women, that was closest to the palace that adored Krishna and would give their life for him. He went to those women which were part of the king's court and asked for the dirt from 8 of their feet in order to heal Krishna. And the women responded, if the queens who love him, wouldn't do such a thing, why would I do that? I would give my life for him. And they refused. And at this point, Nada was just taken aback. He thought he was in the Twilight Zone, Italy style. And he just thought this was going to be so easy, but then it wasn't. So he went to the next 8 women, whom were artisans and people who wasn't part of the court, but they were pretty high ranking, and the same thing happened. In fact, one lady said, do you take me to be some village girl that just walks around barefooted? Like, what are you doing asking me for dirt from my feet? I would give my life for this man. So Nada just went on and on and on, all the way down to the untouchables. Okay, yes, Italy has untouchables too. And nobody would give the dirt from their feet for a man that they said they would die for to help save him. So he was out of options, and he thought maybe, he did something wrong. So he thought he would take matters into his own hands now and say, you know what? I'm going to go outside of the kingdom. Even though everyone in this kingdom would die for him, loves him to that degree, I'm going to see if I can shoot my shot outside here. So he went to the next best place, which was the old village that Krishna grew up in, where Krishna's old friends were at, people that knew Krishna, essentially. So he went up, to the old country, up in the hills, where people were remotely living. And when he got to the village, all of Krishna's friends, who were adults now, had ran to Nada, and they were so excited, screaming, how's Krishna? Is he still blue? Does he have that funny laugh still? Does he still laugh like that? Like he did when he was a kid. And they were like really excited and overjoyed to hear from the palace. And Nada, hesitantly said that he had bad news for them. And everyone was like, oh my God, what happened? And he took breath, at this point. And he said, listen, Krishna is sick. He's on his deathbed. And what he needs is the dirt from 8 women's feet that unconditionally love him. And this is the only way to save him. This is the last straw right here. And so what happened was people started laughing, as in like uncontrollably laughing. And Nada couldn't understand what was going on. Like they were just laughing. And then suddenly 8 of the women started tearing their hijabs and started wiping the bottom of their feet. And they handed it to Navin and said to him, tell Krishna we love him and we'll always remember him. That story taught me a lot about unconditional love and the source of unconditional love not always being what we think it should be, because love is not a thing that's bound by rings and certifications and certificates, things like that. And I learned something about that. Now, I'm not going to tell you what you should have learned because we're all different, but I'm sure you're smart. You learned what you needed to learn from that story. So I will not hold you guys. It's been a pleasure. I wanted to come in and share that with you. Until next time, I will Oshun you. Talk to you later.